Wednesday, November 29th. Welcome to the Damon Bruce Show. Oh my goodness, we got one for you here today. Thank you for being part of it. To all the Plusers who are in early saying good morning and hello to each other, happy Humo Day to all of you. Here we are in the middle of the week. It's Eagles week. You're not going to find a bigger week in anybody NFL's calendar. It's about as big as it gets. And I tell you, what I love about football is we're basically going to Philadelphia this weekend to watch the NFL's version of an in-season tournament. I mean, that's really what we got, right? And that's what makes the NFL so important, so valuable. It's why we love it. It's why we're drawn to it like moths to the flame. I mean, it's consequences. Every single sport in the world is trying to reinvent a way to get its over-bloated regular season to get some consequences involved. That's what the illusion of the NBA's in-season tournament is trying to create, trying to manufacture. Some early season, nobody gives a rip about them, games have some consequence that we totally made up, just pretend consequences in the NFL's case or in the NBA's case. But that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to manufacture some consequences for otherwise disposable, because there's too many of them, regular season games. The beauty of football, even going from a 16 to a 17 game schedule, is that there aren't too many games. And that's what attaches consequence to them. And I've seen some people, either with comments that they've made for videos that I put up or comments that they've left in the chat that, hey, you know, this game's like any other game for the 49ers this year and they don't want to get too up. No, it's not. It's really not. You have to, I think, adhere to the old, one at a time, kind of cliche until you get to something like this. And then you're allowed to circle it and say this one means more than the others. This one does mean more than the others. There is seeding. There is playoff opponents. There are home playoff games. There is so much attached to this game in Philadelphia. This is what we want. There's a reason why football is king, and it's because of the vast importance of every single regular season game. And it's why we're here. And it's why you're here. And it's why we're marching towards 10,000 subscribers. By the way, we're officially 53 subscribers away from 10,000. Thanks so much to all of you. Thanks to those listening on the podcast. Hopefully you're subscribing to the YouTube channel as well, not just listening to the podcast. Spread the love around and hit that like button, maybe even the notify if you really want to take care of me this holiday season. So look, Brock Purdy. It's hard to say, young man, it's all on you. But this game, when you kind of look at it and you're sort of looking for the path to victory is right off of Brock Purdy's right arm. That's where it is. That's where I think it can be found more than in any other place. It's him. More than any other player on this Niners roster that has to have a good game on Sunday. The Eagles currently ranked 29th in passing yards allowed and 31st in passing touchdowns allowed. Those are not good numbers. Those are not good numbers, and they're numbers that the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan needs to take advantage of for them to go into Philadelphia and find a win on Sunday. Darius Slay is a total stud. I don't care how old he is. He's a stud. Everyone else in that secondary can be had. You'll find, if you poke around the internet into some Eagle chat rooms, to find what Eagles fans are talking about, is they're loving their 10-1 season. The one theme that you'll find in many a complaining Eagles fan is our linebackers don't drop well into pass coverage, and but for Darius Slay, we can kind of get picked apart in this defense. Now, there's also a little bit of but there's a reason for those numbers being so inflated, and that's because the Eagles do as good of a job shutting down the run as you're allowed to do in football, basically. They're very, very stout. But you can find success in the Eagles secondary, and Purdy is going to need to find that success. Slower linebackers and pass coverage. Again, Eagles fans are complaining about this. And when I hear linebackers having trouble keeping up with guys, the first guy I think of is George Kittle. And one of the biggest matchups to watch is Colton McKivitz against Hassan Reddick. And hopefully Colton McKivitz can just not go necessarily one-on-one all day with Hassan Reddick, but can do enough to slow him down, and Kyle Juszczyk can be used in the backfield as an extra blocker, picking up blitzes, chipping, helping where help is needed, and you can get George Kittle off the line of scrimmage and into a pattern, because George Kittle on slower safeties and slower linebackers sounds like free supper to me. That sounds like free supper. So George Kittle, hey diddle diddle, right in the middle is where an awful lot of success, I think the 49ers, they can find some right there. And I also, when I hear slow linebackers, I think there's Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield. There's Christian McCaffrey running underneath slant routes all day long, separating from slower linebackers and then getting a little yak yard magic going. So, there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat. But the numbers say the easiest way to skin Philadelphia, and by the way, Philadelphia is so easy to skin, only one team's been able to do it. So it's not easy to skin this cat. But the easiest way to pluck the feathers of the Eagles, if I can get my animal metaphors correct for the matchup, is by taking advantage of slower linebackers in space and a secondary but for Darius Slay that can be had. So that's where the Niners need to live. Again, that early matchup to keep an eye on. There's some early things that I think in the first quarter are going to tell you what kind of an afternoon the 49ers are in for to keep an eye on here. Colton McKivitz against Hassan Reddick. Have your eye on that right off the rip. That is a huge, huge matchup. The game could turn in that one individual on the offensive line matchup alone. It could. Kyle Juszczyk has got to be good. I think that there are going to be fewer guys out in the pattern because Juszczyk is going to be needed to be used as a blocking back. So I expect him to get a lot of snaps. And we'll see if Kyle has used his 3 days to find the matchups and the advantages that he so often does take advantage of. But it's just, this is going to be a huge game. I'm so ready for it. I know you're ready for it too. Ready to thank my sponsors here. Always want to get that in early. And then you want to get your lunch order in early. Today, get yourself a sandwich from Ike's. Absolutely delicious. You'll find out so for yourself. And if you use that Ike's Reward app, you can start earning your way towards free sandwiches. Let me just throw out a name. Try the Adam Richmond if you haven't. It's got chicken fingers. It's got pesto. It's got some ham, some cheese. It's just freaking delicious. A lot of avocado on that bad boy. Some Godfather sauce. The Adam Richmond, one of my favorites. It's streaking up the charts in my sandwich power rankings at Ike's. So try an Adam Richmond. They're freaking delicious. I also want you to try, if you're thinking about making a wager or two this weekend, mybookie.ag, and use promo code Damon. When you do, you will get up to a 50% deposit match up to $1,000. So you put in $1,000 to play with, you'll have $1,500 to play with over at mybookie.ag if you use promo code Damon. And I just want to keep on telling you about how good my knee feels thanks to Dr. Hughes Orthopedics. I mean, he gave me the Kobe treatment. He did some cellular replacement. And boy, I mean, my knee just feels younger than any other body part that I got. On the Crawl right now is all you need to know about Dr. Paul Hughes. To avoid an orthopedic surgery, I'd like you to go to orthopedicsurgeries.com. I know that sounds a little backwards, but that's his website, orthopedicsurgeries.com, for non-surgical solutions to pain that you have in your joints. This man can help. He has helped me. He can help you. Go find out for yourself. Contact Dr. Paul Hughes, 650-242-5633. You can email him at info@orthopedicsurgeries.com. I'm reading the crawl for those of you who are listening to the podcast, which I know Dr. Hughes does. So cheers, Dr. Hughes. Cheers to all of you. I hope you're having a great morning. And that is a sip of the day. Right off the rip. That was perfectly timed. I was a normal schedule this morning. The coffee came in at the right time. The show started on time. So we're ready to roll. Thanks so much to the doc. And thanks so much to all of you for supporting this site. It's just been growing in the last few days alone. It's been really remarkable, and I thank you all. Again, hit that like button, hit subscribe. We are 53 subscribers away from 10,000, and that's a look. If I can get there by tomorrow, I will have missed the goal I set for myself by just 1 week, which is still pretty darn good. I wanted to get there by Thanksgiving, but if you tell me I can get there by the Thursday after Thanksgiving, like if you would have sold that to me, I would have bought it. Absolutely. So we're going to get into Club Plus in just a little bit. But again, I told you there's some things to keep an eye on in this 49ers and Eagles game. Starting with, what's that Jalen Hurts pocket look like? I'm talking the first few snaps of the game, first few dropbacks of the game. Is Jalen Hurts getting a 3 Mississippi, or is he under pressure? What does that pocket look like? Are the 49ers collapsing a pocket around him, making his day less than comfortable right off the rip? And if it starts that way, it needs to continue that way. There is no letting up against the Eagles. They were down 17-7 against the Buffalo Bills. They've been down at the half in a lot of games. It doesn't mean a thing to them. It doesn't mean a thing to them. And being up at the half means a lot to the 49ers. The Niners are front runners. They really are. They are great getting a lead, holding on to it, and staying in front of the other team. It won't be so easy in Philadelphia. Philadelphia does not give up on football games. This game for the 49ers, and I really believe this, will be won or lost on first down. First down is the most important down of the game. It really is. And the 49ers got to be really good defensively on first down, because third and long is the name of the game if the Niners want to control this game. Third and short, fourth and short, we all know what's coming. We all know how difficult it is to stop. So you better avoid that situation. Philadelphia is first in the NFL in fourth down conversion rate. They move the chains at an astonishing 77%. They also rank third in third down efficiency just all the way around. Burying the Eagles with nothing much to show for first down makes second down more of a decision, which then obviously goes into what you're looking at on third and fourth down. Winning first down plays all game long is what the 49ers need to do defensively. Winning on first down. They got to do it. It's the fastest way to win this game. That and Brock Purdy having a good day against that secondary. Winning first down. Both these teams are top 10 in total yards, yards per play, and rushing yards. They're efficient. They move they control the line of scrimmage. They move the football on the ground. They know what they're doing. The Niners got to get it done on first down. The Niners laying points this weekend makes them the only team in the NFL to be favored in every game that they've played so far this year. But despite being those favorites, they're just 6-5 against the spread. Like, my gut, like taking any bias or what I'm hoping for or what would be best for the channel or anything out of it, is you're telling me I get a 10-1 Eagles team at home getting points? I would take the points if I were gambling on this game. I would take the Eagles and the points. And, you want to call that an emotional hedge? If the Niners win, you're going to be happy. If the Eagles win, you will have made money. How can you bet against a team that's getting points at home when they haven't lost at home and they're 10-1 on the year? That sounds like money just waiting there. And maybe that's what Vegas is thinking of. And maybe the Niners are really going to come out and overwhelm the football world with a performance that makes everybody go, oh, you know what? Wow. But I got to see that before I just assume it or believe it. I'm not a doubting Thomas. I just believe that the Eagles are really good. And the Niners are very, very good. But giving points in this situation, it's hard to wrap my mind around. It really is. There's also this. And I think that this is true. And I don't know, can you quantify it? Maybe it's more of a feeling. But boy, the 49ers are really, really hard to beat when they've got Deebo Samuel, Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, and Brock Purdy, George Kittle all in the same game. Like Ayuk's never hurt. Feels like I don't want to say never hurt because he has been hurt in his past, but he hasn't been hurt much this year, right? He's missed one game. And Ayuk is kind of a guy I'm setting my watch to. So he's like always there. But you get Trent Williams, Debo, Brock, and Christian McCaffrey all together healthy in the same huddle. Man, that's a hard team to beat. And that's what the 49ers are rolling in with this week. Kyle's got his prep time advantage. That sounds like it's hard to beat. And there should be early signs that the 49ers are on track. They come out and score on their opening possession like they've done in so many other games. I don't think I need to share with you that would be a really good sign. The things that worries me, the one thing that I think worries me the most is that the Eagles can come out and the Niners can be filling all the data points that I've just talked about, where that pocket is collapsing, they're controlling first down, they're moving the ball in the air, they scored on their first possession. All of those things can go in the Niners' way early in this game, and the Eagles are still in this game. The Eagles can play poorly. They can play bad football. They can sustain a level of underwhelming football in a half and come on back and beat you in the second half. They just are Frankenstein. They just keep coming. They're the mummy. They might not be moving fast, but they just keep coming. They just keep coming. You got to respect it. You really do. I'm ready for this game. I know you are too. We got a couple more days before our week is out, and then boom, Sunday will be here before you know it. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited, and I hope you plan on joining me at the 2-minute warning of 49ers and Eagles. It's going to be the post-game show of the year, certainly whether they win or lose. We're going to have an awful lot to talk about. The circumstances, not manufactured, not pretend in-season tournament, but this really is. This is an in-season tournament, and I don't think I'm going out on a limb here to say that this game on Sunday will have the NFC's Super Bowl representative in it. I think it's going to be the 49ers or the Eagles going to the Super Bowl in the NFC this year. I still don't believe in the Cowboys to get it done when it matters the most, and I can't ever think the Lions are going to win a big game because they just don't. So there you go. I really think we're looking at an Eagles or 49ers Super Bowl, and I'm not saying that the winner of this game will be that team, but I do think the team that represents the NFC is playing at Lincoln Financial Field on Sunday, and it could be the first of two cracks these teams are going to get at each other before it's all said and done. You gotta love football.
Maximum football!
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Oh my goodness. Look, I don't know if this is going to be as emotional as Sylvester Stallone, like on the opening night of Lincoln Financial, ringing their stupid Liberty Bell or however they start their games or whatever. But DeSean Jackson has called it a career, and he's actually going to be retiring an Eagle. He's going to serve as an honorary captain on Sunday ahead of the 49ers game. Now, I can tell you that honorary captains don't really affect outcomes of games, but I've always liked DeSean Jackson. And I'll call it attendance bias because very early on in my, hey, I'm now in the Bay Area, I couldn't afford to do very much. I was kind of broke as a joke early on in my San Francisco life. What I could afford was to buy a cheap ticket to a Cal football game and a BART ride over to Berkeley. So I went to an awful lot of Cal football games in the DeSean Jackson era. And he was electric. Like, I just remember being on KNBR as the 49ers were in the 2009 draft, and I am lobbying for DeSean Jackson. And everyone's telling me, man, dude, forget about it. They're not going to take him in the first round. I'm like, well, they got an early second-round pick. Maybe in the second round. I love DeSean Jackson in the second round. If not in the first round, certainly if he is there with that second pick, you got to take him. Well, at 29 that year, the 49ers took Kentwan Balmer, and then in the second round, with DeSean Jackson just sitting right there, they took Shiloh Rashal. Shiloh Rashal Now, I guess the one bit of defense the Niners could make was that DeSean Jackson was the 6th wide receiver taken in the 2009 draft. But the Niners blew that. Guy played 15 NFL seasons, 8 of them in Philadelphia, where he earned 3 of his Pro Bowl trips, and he was a Pro Bowler 3 times, so he was fantastic. As a return man, as just an electric deep threat receiver, DeSean Jackson was special on a football field. He really was, especially in college, too. Here's a little bar bet. Has DeSean Jackson ever won a Super Bowl? Yes or no? Real quick. You don't get time to look it up. Yes or no? Have you said no? Well, you're wrong. DeSean Jackson, he appeared in 7 regular season games for the Los Angeles Rams in 2021, and even though he wasn't with the team in the postseason, he still got a Super Bowl ring. So there you go. DeSean Jackson, Super Bowl champion, kind of. I always really liked him as a player. Guy was electric. So, a lot of people are excited about the Humo Day. Oh, I already see an awful lot of chatter about Golden State Warriors. We'll get into the Warriors here. Because, good God. It's one of the worst losses of the Steve Kerr era. That's what happened Tuesday night in Sacramento. First of all, you got Chris Paul and Gary Payton both getting hurt in the game. That's not good. And the team reverted to a Jordan Poole is still here level of turnovers and just slop. 18 turnovers. They committed 31 fouls. There were lots of whistles in the game. The Warriors shot 30 free throws. They never shoot 30 free throws in a game. And you would assume if the Warriors are getting 30 free throws, they're going to, what would they have to cover? They had to win by, 12 last night, and they would have won the group? Well, they were on their way to doing that. And then they blew it. And big part of the reason why they blew it is because Draymond Green blew it once again. Blew a gasket. And instead of his fiery presence creating heat for the other team, what he did is he burnt his own house down. Frickin' Draymond. Moses Moody only played 13 minutes. He scored 11 points in the fourth quarter. He was perfect from the floor. He gets yanked out of the game as he's dominating it, which is just, an absurd and borderline indefensible decision for Steve Kerr to try to say he got that right. There was another terrible challenge from Kerr late in that game that left him without a timeout when he needed one at the end of the game to advance the ball past half court. They blew a 24-point lead, and they blew a chance to win their group and play in the in-season tournament. And they were in control of that game. The Warriors were in control of that game until Draymond lost control. And look, I don't know what to say anymore. I really don't know what to say anymore. Steph had a bad turnover late that didn't help. Draymond loses his cool. Clay played well in the first half, but really didn't do a thing in the second half. Kerr coached the game wrong. Kerr screwed that up as much as anyone. And look, I don't mean Steph here. But anyone else on this team that calls himself a leader, you ain't leading. You're not. You're not. Like, Draymond is now almost a working in-game detriment to the Golden State Warriors. Mr. Triple Singles at it again. 8 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, at least 1 technical foul. It's where Draymond refuses to improve. That's the thing, and he's refusing. It's a bold-faced refusal to get better or grow up, and it's intolerable. And the truth is, if we're being completely honest here, is that Draymond is no longer a leader on the Golden State Warriors. He's a rank-and-file player. And I'm wondering if he couldn't be replaced in the aggregate with a combination of Jonathan Kuminga and Trace Jackson Davis, and you get a better player between those two than you get out of this one guy right now. Draymond is no longer leader. He's a blowhard. He's an absolute blowhard, and Clay is just in this weird shell of himself space where he is getting selfish and making bad shot choices. Wiggins, let's be totally honest, he couldn't lead a den of Boy Scouts through a hike through the woods, much less an NBA team. So Wiggins is no leader at all. To put it on Looney to do anything other than, rebound and play by example is a ridiculous ask of him. And Steph just, he's not a screamer. He's not a vocal guy. Obviously, Steve Kerr's not going to do a thing to reel Draymond in, not that Draymond will actually listen to anyways. And Draymond just, he won't learn. He won't learn. He refuses to learn. Kendra Andrews reported last night that Kings guard Malik Monk basically said that when Green got his technical foul in the fourth quarter, the Kings knew that was their moment to strike. Because there is no greater indication of the Warriors are about to shit their pants than watching Draymond Green actually shit his pants. A high school coach. Any high school coach in America, any JV high school coach in America could come up with a game plan to beat the Golden State Warriors. It's real simple. You double Steph Curry the minute he crosses half court. You trap him whenever possible, and you let the rest of these guys wearing Warriors uniforms just blow it. That's it. That's how you beat the Warriors. That's how everyone has come out and beat the Warriors this year. Hold back Steph a little bit. Let him get his in some instances. But the more anyone other than Steph shoots, the closer the other team gets to victory. And if we're just being brutally honest here, Draymond is no longer part of a winning equation for the Golden State Warriors. If he can't grow up, which he refuses to do, he's not a part of the winning equation. He isn't. Draymond, he's the ultimate defender. He's the ultimate switcher. He's the ultimate winner. No, he's not. He's not. Not anymore, he's not. He can't shut up. And the guy who can't shut up, by definition, is not a leader. He can't blame this on Jordan Poole. Do you ever run into the guy or gal who's had a lot of roommates in a shared apartment, and all they do is complain about their roommates, and this roommate stinks, and that roommate stinks, and this roommate's tough to live with, and this person was tough to live with, and now we're on roommate number 5, and I don't like roommate number 5 either? At that point, maybe the asshole is you. Draymond Green is not helping. We're 18 games into his 4-year extension. He's already been suspended for 5 of them. It's not even December 1st, and the guy is just in flaming asshole mode. He missed the front part of the year due to an injury, so he's only played in 10 games. And you're not helping the team. I mean, what more do you want? Like, a coach should be able to walk up to a player and say, all right, you're officially hurting us now. Do I have your full attention? Steve Kerr needs to bench his ass. Sit him down. We'll play you again when you grow up. It's getting intolerable. And you're telling me there are 3 and more than a half years remaining of this? This is a 33-year-old, 12-year NFL vet who acts like my 4-year-old, governed by emotions in the moment which he cannot control. It's absurd. It's absurd. This is no longer Draymond getting a tech, firing up his own team, Draymond. This is Draymond getting a tech, and the other team is thinking, nailed it. Bingo. Pulled on that thread on the sweater enough for it to start unraveling. It's so easy to get under Draymond's skin. I told you weeks ago, he handed the entire league a blueprint, how to get this asshole out of the game. And he keeps on showing everybody how easy it is to do. Let me ask you this. The direct question for Draymond. Draymond, I hope you're watching. Here's my direct question to you, Draymond Green. When has not being able to stop jawing at an official worked? When has Mr. Big mouth flapping helped the Golden State Warriors? Show me the one time in 12 years that it worked. Show me the one time that Draymond came away from not being able to shut up with an official to where it was like, oh, and now everything went the Warriors' way. That was great. It was great that Draymond never stopped talking during that entire free throw sequence, doesn't stop yelling at an official. When does it work? It never does. You get no benefit of the doubt. Everybody in the NBA, except for your own teammates, and maybe even some of them, hate you, Draymond. Everyone. The opponents hate you. The commissioner hates you. Everyone hates you. You're an asshole. I mean, I don't know what to say. You're not who you think you are anymore. He hit a couple of threes last night. Doesn't matter. He can't stop pissing down his own leg like a 4-year-old having a temper tantrum. Name me the one time Draymond flapping his gums has worked. When was it? When did that happen? You know, maybe this guy has bought into some I need to live my own truth bullshit and feels like I have the right to do this. Dude, if you know where the line is and you refuse to stop crossing it, you're a jerk off. I just don't know what to tell you. You're a jerk off if you can't stop crossing the obvious line that you can't stop crossing every single night almost. It's one thing to be the agitator in the middle of winning. It's another thing to be an agitator that is dialing up losses more than it does wins. And that's where Draymond is in his career right now. He is at the center of failure, not at the center of victory. And Steve Kerr needs to do something. And I don't know what he can do. This dog is officially off the leash, and I don't know if you can reel him in. Draymond's got no desire to learn a single lesson that the NBA has put in front of him in no uncertain or fuzzy terms. You have the shortest leash in the league. Stop acting like an asshole. Nope. Refuses to do it. The guy is literally caught flopping, trying to sell an injury that didn't happen. He's rolling around on the court. Get up, sweetheart. Run back down and play some defense, since that's basically kind of all you're good for these days. Draymond is now embarrassed that his flopaholic didn't work. So now he thinks there should be a carrying call, and he's mocking the official with a carrying call, which nobody else, Curry was doing this. And he's not getting attacked, but Draymond does that and you get attacked because nobody likes you. Nobody likes you, including many Warriors fans these days. There's no way, you can't tell me that Steve Kerr isn't sick of this guy. Again, it's one thing to be the asshole in the center of victory. It's another thing entirely to be the asshole in the center of losing. I could get Draymond ejected from any single game I ever coached or played against him. I could do it in the first quarter. We set an over-under for sip of the day. I could get Draymond ejected by the end of the first quarter in every single game I coached or played against him if I were on the opposing team. It would be easy. It'd be the easiest part of my game plan. Getting under Draymond's skin is as easy as what? What's the easiest thing to do in sports? Getting underneath Draymond's skin is probably right up there. That guy is a mental midget when it comes to watch me piss my own pants. He really is. He really is. And what it's honestly, here's the thing, Draymond, and I hope this hurts. I hope that you hear this and this stings. You are, when it comes to mental toughness, a fraud. Draymond Green, when it comes to mental toughness, is a fraud Because if all you are is a shit talker to everybody else, but you can't control your own emotions, you're a mental toughness fraud. Well, I'm just a fiery competitor. No, not really. No, I know what fiery competition looks like, and I know what a guy who just can't stop talking, even though it's about to hurt his own team, looks like, and that's what you look like, Draymond. You rattle as easy as my 4-year-old son. One of his favorite stuffed animals was unfortunately left in Los Angeles, and my kid is just rattled. It's like Draymond, just rattled, easily rattled. And again, this is my 4-year-old son, governed by emotion and emotion only. Can't reel himself in. Draymond is a 33-year-old NBA veteran with rings in his 12th season, and he refuses to grow up. And, if Jordan Poole was the reason why you think you lost your voice in the locker room last year, it might have been part of it, but you are more responsible for your teammates tuning you out than anything you ever did with Jordan Poole. Draymond, there are enough OGs on this basketball team to know what a fraud looks and sounds like, and you're starting to, I think, remind your own teammates of it. Just an emotional roller coaster every single game. Grow up. Kenny Smith on TNT last night said, when you think of Draymond Green, and we all love Draymond individually, he comes in and we love him. But we're at a point, if you're apologizing consistently, then you're actually in the wrong. There are no more apologies. This is his third apology in his last 6 months. He's too good of a player, too seasoned of a player to keep apologizing. At 22, 23, 24, you can keep apologizing. But at this stage of your career, a champion, we should be out of the apology stage of your career. It's up to Steve Kerr to do that with the accountability phase of Steve Kerr's coaching career. Again, I don't know why Steve Kerr is playing Corey Joseph over Brandon Pajemski. I don't know why Moses Moody is literally saving everybody's bacon and lobbying for more minutes in real time with actual in-game stud performance, and Kerr puts him back on the bench. Why don't you revert to the theory that you were more than willing to run as you were punting on a game in Phoenix the night before Thanksgiving, where you left your bench in because they had earned the right to finish the game? How did Moses Moody not earn the right to finish that game last night? He's your only offense in the fourth quarter. Again, because what do? You just double Steph. You trap him everywhere he goes, and there you go. Clay's taking bad shots. He had a good first half, bad second half. Again, Andrew Wiggins, even when he succeeds, who cares? The Warriors are a mess. And as they're currently constructed, they're not going to win a goddamn thing this year. But for Steph Curry, every single guy on this team should be an option to be traded. Every single guy not named Steph Curry. And Mike Dunleavy needs to do something. Because we're about 20 games in, and I've seen enough. They're not going to be a contender this year as they're currently built, as they're currently playing, as Steve Kerr is currently botching rotations and letting Draymond Green just act like a buffoon whenever it fits Draymond Green modus operandi. So, the only saving grace to this Warriors season is that it's not even December yet. I almost went live last night on YouTube, but I can't pretend that we need to do an emergency post game because it's still so early in the season. But the Warriors blew an opportunity to play in the first ever in-season tournament. If that means something to them, they blew it. If it doesn't mean something to them, who cares? But what I'm seeing out of this team is a whole bunch of veterans that make rookie mistakes and a 33-year-old overpay who can't control his emotions. Oh, and play Trace Jackson Davis. How about that? I don't like what I'm seeing out of the Warriors. Who does? Who could? It ain't great. It's really not great right now. Hopefully we get a really great football game on Sunday. Thank you for making the growth of this channel really great. Again, we are 53 subscribers short of 10,000. So if you are new in here today, hit that subscribe button, please, and go ahead and download that podcast. You're going to get that podcast. You need that podcast. And please do remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone. Except for on YouTube. Someone's like, Damon, why do you have disco lights on? Why don't you have disco lights on? Would be a better question, right? Michelle Haberman's like, yeah, we whiffed on DeSean Jackson for sure. Yeah, that was that Scott McLuhan, or was that the beginning of Trent Baalke's decision-making? Damon, I know the Warriors lost last night, but the Heat lost badly last night. Okay, yeah. Culture. Uh-oh. Why take out Moody? Exactly. Like, why take Moody out of that game, Nathaniel? I can't explain it. I mean, is Steve Kerr watching? Is Steve Kerr watching the game that's happening in front of him? Or is he just always thinking veterans are better? Veterans are better. I'm going to go with the more veterans are better. I don't get it. I just don't get it. T from the 203 says, Damon, did you also see that Kevin Carlin didn't make his flight to Miami for the Heat Bucks game? So they had Eric Reed, the Heat voice, on the... no, I didn't notice that. Well, good for Eric Reed. I hope he gets a network job out of it. Nick Eastwood, Warriors are done. It's Sacramento's time to rep Northern California. Picked up a good win last night, man. Rockin' New Era 84. It's real simple. Teams know that Draymond can be easily baited. Look, I'm telling you, I could get Draymond Green thrown out of a game, a club, a restaurant, maybe even his own podcast. I don't know. Like, getting Draymond Green ejected is easy to do. He runs himself. He runs him to... All you got to do is find a way to start the flame, and he can't put it out. He can't do it. And don't tell me like, oh, he's gonna develop that muscle. No, he's not. Not at this point in his stage. He cannot do it. Guy's governed by emotions like my child. And True Blue Forever's right. The refs aren't taking any more of Draymond's shit. By the way, you can go back through the entirety of my career. You won't hear me refer to him as Day once. Day. I'm not his mother. I'm not his girlfriend. Smiley Dan, who I hope is very safe today. I'm sure he is. Smiley Dan says, Joseph looked outmatched and small, and Pods is just sitting there on the bench. And Brandon Pajemski, dude, the guy is a badass. I want to see more Brandon Pajemski. For Corey Joseph, what are you doing? What are you doing, Steve? I don't get it. They lost because of 2 turnovers by Curry and Green. Yeah, Curry, look, it's hard to criticize Curry because he does everything else. But yeah, he made a late mistake that was a bad mistake for sure, RIP. Jose Julian says Draymond is a Rodman wannabe. He's a punk and nobody likes him. At least Rodman was likable. Again, I didn't see Dennis Rodman have a game plan to just argue with officials on a nightly basis. Here's the thing. If Draymond played as hard as he argued with officials, the Warriors wouldn't lose any game in which he played in. But Draymond Green is more interested in yelling at officials than he is at playing great basketball. And he's become a liability. San Bruno Mike, both Draymond and Clay are anchors. I mean, neither's fat, so I won't call them that, but they're anchors pulling down this team right now, and they are. Tiger Tank 06. For the Warriors, Damon, it's time to start trading people. I don't want them to turn into the Giants. Look, I'm going to tell you, the ship on them being, like 20 years of excellence, like the San Antonio Spurs, like that ain't happening. This season, if it continues on this path, goes down in flames. Oh, no. Kerr did his best Kapler last night. God, I'm afraid you're right. Freddie Jr. leading Boy Scouts through a den of woods. Did I say that? A den of Boy Scouts through the woods. But yeah, no, I mean, Andrew Wiggins couldn't lead a picnic. So he's not a leader. He never will be. Clay doesn't really want the responsibility either. Draymond has abdicated all responsibility. So it's basically, it's Steph Curry being a quiet leader, and let's hope Steve Kerr doesn't blow this tonight. Those are your only leaders on this team? You know who's a leader? I'm going to tell you right now, I watch him 4 years. Trace Jackson Davis is a leader. Give him more responsibility. Watch him lead. '49ers Ultimate Report says, Draymond's pissing me off. I understand he has passion, but Draymond is a child that cries too much. Again, that's the thing. This isn't passion. This is undisciplined behavior. Don't mistake the two. I know what passion looks like. I know what caring about winning looks like. And I also know what an inability to act like an adult looks like. And that's where Draymond lives. He is unable to function as a normal NBA player. It's one thing to get a little chippy with officials sometimes. It's another thing to be at DEFCON 1 in every single interaction with every official you make in every game you play. So I beg to ask, do the Golden State Warriors care about the tournament? Maybe it's just ho-hum. None of the vets are coming through other than Steph. No, I do think they cared about it. I think, look, I don't know if I do or don't or really, or, it's maybe good that they're not going to go burn that energy. But here's the thing. It's not like the Warriors have any energy to save because they're not contending the way that they're built. They're not. True Blue says, I don't think Bobby Knight could have kept Draymond in line. Bobby Knight would have kept Draymond on the bench. Tom Izzo kept Draymond in line. Draymond didn't act like this when he was in college because he had a coach that would snap his femur. Steve Kerr is one of these, maybe loving a little too much. He needs to have a little bit more of a whip hand, not just a sugar cube. I don't know. Irwin, all Draymond was doing was motioning a carry. How was that a tech worthy? Because he's an asshole. That's how. Everyone hates him. Everybody is dying to get Draymond out of a game. Everyone. They can't stand him. The benefit of the doubt doesn't exist for him. And that's how it's a tech. It's a tech because for the last 12 years, you've been a dick. I mean, it's just It's insane. Sean saying, I can't believe he got 4 years. Look at where we are. Just 18 games into this contract. He's missed how many of them with injury and suspension? What does this look like 3 years from now? Kerr is scared to check his veteran players. I mean, I don't know if it's scared or not, but if you were going to do anything to discipline Draymond, you needed to start doing it years ago, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Old Dirty Hungus knows what I'm talking about. If you're the one person who's got an issue with everyone, all these people seem cool together, then you're the asshole. Exactly. Larry, when other teams know how to remove our best defender, it's an advantage for them. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Draymond has earned an awful lot of house credit. I think he's already burned through it. I mean, that's a thing. It's like back to zero with this guy because the only thing that he's got to be proud of are memories that are becoming more distant by the game. The question is, what have you done for your team tonight? And Draymond is helping the Warriors lose more than he is helping them win. Like, I don't know how you could ever get a player's attention more than that. You're helping the other team more than you're helping your own team. Do I have your attention now, Draymond? Does Steve Kerr have enough balls to say that to him? Well, I mean, I think I've said enough. We don't need to have everybody just pile on Draymond too. We all know what's what. I mean, again, the reason why we know what's what is because we got adults. We got adults over here. Adults can spot immature people better than anyone else. Otis Bird said Draymond is a marked man. And that's another thing. Like, you know who you are, what your reputation is 12 years in, and he still won't do anything about it. Let's see now how long this is. There, you know, what is the severity of any injury to Chris Paul? It looked like we had a gimpy Gary Payton II coming off the court last night. Does Draymond have anything to play for anymore but a paycheck? Well, yeah, you would hope so. He's got Steph Curry to play for. And here's the thing, like, if you really want to be, here's the thing, Draymond, don't do it for you, do it for Steph Curry. You say you love your brother, you say you want to do the best thing for your team, do it for Steph Curry. Because Steph Curry put rings on your finger, not the other way around. Damon, do you drink your coffee black? Like midnight? Yes, I do. Chef A. The Warriors snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. They sure did last night. They sure did last night. Larry. Insecurity is loud. It really is. Sean says, so what's the fix? Therapy? Meditation? I don't think there is any fixing it. Maybe trade. Maybe look, again, you're either going to be part of the solution or you're not going to be. I honestly think that you could duplicate Draymond's production with the combination of Jonathan Kuminga and Trace Jackson Davis. And even if they're not playing the level of defense that Draymond used to play, they're going to give you an offensive cushion that Draymond is basically incapable of producing. And, you need that other point guard. Well, now you got your Chris Paul, hopefully, or you got Gary Payton, or you got Brandon Pajemski, or you got Corey Joseph. Like, there's other guys to handle the ball other than Draymond. And the diminishing returns on his minutes are obvious. Kerr hates Moody. That's the only explanation left. He doesn't hate Moody, but he's got to start breaking his own tendencies and habits. And Steve Kerr's tendency and his habit is to lean on his veterans because he used to have a group of rookies that he couldn't trust. I don't think he's got that anymore. And oh, by the way, Moody's not a rookie. Again, Michelle Haberman, who's as loyal as the day is long. She said, Draymond used to be my favorite Warrior, but his behavior is indefensible. It's really sad that he can't get out of his own way. He can't. He just can't. Again, get Trace Jackson Davis into basketball games. All dynasties end with a thud. They do, Sporticus, especially if you are going to have players helping the thud along. Major Trip says, Damon, your Warriors rant is on par with Kruger's giant rant. Video that thing, and you're at 10K. Yeah, I think we're going to be putting it up. I think we're going to be selecting some of that and repackaging it for you. Larry. Draymond is that mildly attractive 30-year-old girl at the club that complains about standing in line and wonders why no one's buying her drinks. Yeah, maybe it's you, sweetheart. I don't know. I don't know. Roddy Richards says, so you went from lobbying for Draymond to get a contract extension in the offseason to wanting him dealt now? You got to do something. I mean, look, there was a spot for him on the team if he was going to be Draymond. But if he's going to be Draymond, I'm no longer helping the team, then yeah, it's time to go. And by the way, I was not lobbying for Draymond to return as much as I said, what choice did they have? I mean, if you're getting rid of Jordan Poole, I guess you're bringing this guy back. And you would think that after winning that battle, Draymond would be now interested in winning the greater war, but he's still got nothing but just pettiness in him. Again, had you told me that Draymond is just going to be a total asshole from here on out, and that's all he's going to be, and he's not going to be this switching genius and this defensive mastermind, and he's going to help the other team win more than the Warriors win, then yeah, it is. It's time to say thanks for that. I mean, Draymond chokes out Gobert, gets 5 games, and the Warriors are like, yeah, that's about right. I mean, that's a thing. But what Steve said that, but it didn't affect Draymond at all. I mean, there's nothing that affects Draymond. Draymond refuses to change. He refuses to change. The path to stop being an asshole is pretty much right there. Feel free to take it. Nope. He refuses to take that path. Stacy Leo. Cheers to black coffee. Black coffee runs the world. It really does. The West Coast Ghost. Just call Draymond a bitch and you own him. Yeah, again, it would be easy to get under Draymond's skin. Easy. Wouldn't take any effort at all. Just a little bit of a thread to pull. You yank on it a little and Draymond unravels like a cashmere sweater. So there we go. Steve needs a one-on-one, heart-to-heart with Draymond, Clay, etc. Look, I don't think Steve is going to be able to talk Clay out of taking bad and selfish shots, and I don't think he's going to be able to talk Draymond out of yelling at every official, every game, all the time, every interaction, not once. I'm sure Steve has had that conversation. Steve's smart. Steve is a great communicator. I'm sure he's communicated these things over and over again. It's not being received. It's not being received. Thank you for receiving me today, for letting me into your life, part of your daily routine, all you plusers, you regulars. You mean so much to what we're doing over here. I thank you a ton. I really, really do. Thank you for being a part of today's show. Thanks for all the chats and hanging out here in Club Plus. And I'm going to tell you that you are the smartest group of sports fans that I run into everywhere I go. Thank you very, very much for being a group that I'm proud to be a part of. It means an awful lot to me that you gather here and you hang out. Thank you so very, very much. That's why it kind of breaks my heart to tell you that you don't have to go home. You just can't stay here.